Hey y'all, it's Ratsnake, and I'm here with the famed Hell Rider Asami. We're at level 60. It's Pontiff. I know a lot of y'all hate Pontiff. I hate Pontiff. Pontiff's toxic. But you know, sometimes I try to go back and test my skill against the biggest tryhards. You can see here we've got an overleveled Phantom doing Quiet Resolve when they ain't done shit to earn that kind of edge, you know? The Vestige spam, it might seem really redundant and, you know, to just the passing eye, but, you know, it's actually really tactical. And the host here, he's standing here and waiting for me to R1 and then parrying. Also, super tactical. These guys really gave me a run for my money, I gotta say. But this invasion here, this one is about having a good teammate. And we're gonna go over what it looks like to have not just a bad teammate, but like a stinking, rotting, hot pile of garbage teammate. But we'll get there. So we've got this lap guy. I generally tend to trust the laps. Usually they're not complete fucking morons, but you know, always be cautious because I can't vouch for all the laps. And I'll admit here I'm definitely the more useless of the two. The spear just wasn't putting in the work, so we switched back over to the bread and butter, the Onyx blade, of course. But overall, just doing a good job of staying out of each other's way. No accidents, just a clean 2v2. And I try to keep the host off of him so he doesn't get ganked. But here I kind of run out of stamina. And I don't know if Lap meant to do it or what, but he kind of used his body as a shield there and allowed me to escape. So that was nice. Scared the host off a little. But he makes, you know, quick work of that Phantom. I keep the host off his ass. Seems a little salty, but he might have had some history with this team that I didn't know about. And then just a nice firebomb kill. And that's a good teammate right there. Yeehaw, right? So here is our not so great stinking pile of garbage teammate. He's really helping us out with those 100% accurate great bow shots, while this over-leveled level 200 piece of shit welcome gestures at us. And you know, there's like a whole lot I can do with this passive party on this staircase, you know? So I switched over to the same Spiden. I've already told y'all it's my favorite spear. And our host here, he's got the Ring Knight spear. And I love having spear offs, because I always win. Because the Saint Spiden is better than your stupid weapon art that is easily rollable. 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 I feel like we make up a lot of words in Dark Souls. Anyway, so our great bow friend takes care of the Phantom, so I'm like, cool, it's gonna be a 2v1. But you know, that's what teammates are for, right? They're for killing you when you least expect it. And then they go their separate ways. It literally makes no sense, but it's fine. I'm not salty about it at all. I didn't want to kill that host or anything. It's fine. Anyway, the natural progression of things would lead us to Lothic Castle after Pontiff, right? So here we are. We've got our host in the Wing Knight armor and his two stupid ass Phantoms. Over-leveled, of course. I'm pretty sure this entire team is fat rolling, and I don't know if that was a, you know, like a playthrough choice or if they're all fucking morons, but it works out to our advantage at least, you know? And again, I don't know if it was a playthrough decision or just, you know, if it just came naturally to these guys, but they're all using straight swords. And you see here, the Sunbro gets some really nice, laggy, straight sword damage on me. Super tactical. I was so impressed. So thoroughly impressed by that skill. And, so lately I've been trying to make sure that my less than meta builds, like my 80, 60, 50, 90, whatever builds, have about enough stamina to swing a one-handed greatsword about 6 times. It's kind of been my go-to lately. It's like straight sword spam, but it's bigger and heavier and does better damage and has more poise, but it's almost just as fast. So I've really been reaping the rewards. Nothing really screams like skill to me as much as throwing dagger spam. You know, nothing says this is my last resort as loudly as throwing dagger spam. Anyway, so we get some of that great sword R1 bullshit. We escape pretty much scot-free. And we've got the obscuring ring on, so it's kind of just a long range battle from here on out. And you know, of course, this build should have a longbow, but I'm not even sure that there's one that she can use, so we just stick to the longbow for now. But it's fine because it doesn't do quite as much masculinity damage, but it still does quite a large amount of masculinity damage when you hit them with a longbow as they're, you know, pulling back their great bow. And you hit them and they don't hit you. They just kind of get their bow out for like style tactic points. It's like, look, I have this for tactical reasons, but I don't actually know how to execute it in a tactical way. You know, the obscuring ring's really easy to get. And I don't understand why people don't use it, or don't get it, or whatever. Anyway, they get bored of me and they move on into the level, so we follow them in here, but you know, you always gotta be careful because this room's full of explosive barrels full of gunpowder or some shit. And there's these little assholes that throw firebombs at you the whole time. So the biggest mistake that a ganker can do is leave the safety of their gank. That's what that white phantom just did, but unfortunately he was rescued. Y'all remember what I said about the greatsword spam? Look at that. Either they're too prideful to roll out, or they just don't expect me to swing 6 times. But the greatsword spam, wow, it's so good. Especially at these like mid to low levels. Like, I know my poise is decent, and all these other players, I mean, these guys probably have decent poise, because, I mean, we got a wing knight and a silver knight, but for the most part, these mid-level characters or players, they don't really worry about their poise, and I'm pretty familiar with my poise, and I know that I can R1 spam my greatsword into a party about 6 times, especially if you kite them around a little bit. It's so nice. I really recommend it. Like, one-handed greatswords are great and all. Greatswords are great. Greatswords are great, you know, in all scenarios. But especially, I've been finding one-handed, low level, they're amazing at roll catching. People just don't know what to do with them. I use a Siegbrow there. I hate duping. It's, you know, it's very time consuming and shitty, so I try not to use my Siegbrows too much. But I definitely had to win against these guys. You know, more for my own ego than anything, because obviously they're super good. and I just had to win anyway. Did y'all notice the fat roll getaway and the throwing knife spam? Nothing really screams like I know what I'm doing than throwing knife spam. But how about that great sword R1 spam? That's good shit. We finally got the host alone. Swung too many times to get our riposte there. He's not really doing anything. I wonder why. Oh! Well, that's why. Darn. Alright, so we're gonna backtrack a little. We're going back to the profane capital, because that's, you know, that's where Asami's from. She really loves that place. So we tend to stay there. So Miyazaki's always going to spawn you on the swamp half of the map, but if I notice that the party hasn't actually been that way yet, I will go ahead and get on this ledge to make sure that they're not headed for the boss. If you go the regular way, they're going to have a head start. So the Sun Bros here, they could take advantage of my mistake right there. But of course, they don't. So we're fine. One of the many benefits of invading at level 60. I really love this spot in the level. It's actually one of my favorites because it's a great choke point. They can't get to the boss without going through you, and you have this tight corridor that you get to defend, and you have the profane flame as backup, so it's great. Our Artorias Sunbro here, he starts throwing shit because, you know, when they get frustrated, they're small brains. They don't really have a lot of other options, so they kind of just default to defecating. Our big boy Sunbro, he's a big boy, and even so, he's not really taking advantage of that because he's scared. A Dark Wraith Asami showed up in his world and he got scared. You can't blame him for real. So they make sure to check their bases, right? You know, they got the shit, got the spells, got the R1s, but they weren't looking out for that golf swing space launch. So we get 2 of them with it. For passive parties, I either like the Saint Spident or, you know, like an Ultra, just to whack them all at once. Because, you know, they're not aggressive enough to, like, break your poise or anything. And I love this shit right here. So our shit thrower, of course, you could have guessed it, but of course they're the first to fall. Now it's just Host and Big Boy versus Dark Wraith Hellrider Asami. So Asami and I have been running into a lot of axes lately. It's really, really, really hard to parry the third R1 on axes, so just don't even try it. I don't want y'all to get punished. You know, it's rare that they would throw out a third R1, but when they do, don't even try to parry it. It's too hard. Do y'all like that Dark Souls 1 strafe backstab attempt? The skill that these guys have was making me so nervous. Like, I didn't think I was gonna get out of here alive, you know? Parry. Phantom, parry. You know, just 30 game feet away. You might as well parry just in case, right? Just in case they throw a dung pie or something. You want to be able to deflect it. So we keep going back and forth with the Sunbro. He's really using his poise to his advantage, you know? He's not scared of me at all. Or scared of Asami, I should say. Some more Great Sword R1 spam. And the fat boy falls. So now we've got our host alone, and they're doing that typical, like, really timid, freak out host shit, and I can just sort of stand there and let them freak out without having to worry about them, you know, attacking or anything, because, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but in my experience, hosts don't attack. They just kind of run. I will give them credit, though, for not being, you know, dense enough to go up the ladder. Although he was dense enough to swing 3 times on me again. But the latter would have been a guaranteed demise, you know? GG. Alright, so we continue. We're here with another profane capital invasion. Asami is fat rolling because she's a dumb bitch. But she takes care of it, so, you know. We'll let it slide. This is actually not our first encounter with this party. This is a few minutes into the invasion. We had to hunt them down after they ran off, but they're actually giving her a little bit of greatsword kind of hell right now. So we make our retreat, turn a corner before you heal, if you can. But they're hot on our ass. Got the gnaw, got some panic rolls, you know, just all the traits that you really expect to see in a experienced invader. Messing up the parkour, about 10 HP from dying. But you know what? She withstands it all, and you know why? It's because she's vegan. Her diet consists completely, well, not completely, I would say 90% of like her diet is purple moss clumps, and the other 10% is the blood and flesh of the enemies and the sunbros and the over-leveled phantoms that she slaughters and drinks the blood from. Because you gotta remember, she is a dark wraith. So, you know, of course they don't really want to follow us down here. So we're gonna give them a little bit more of that trademark longbow that should really be great bow harassment. And we're pretty shit at aiming. But it's alright, because at least we hit them once, right? And you know the drill, like always aim for the phantom, you know, they got less Estus, whatever. Phantom runs off, host comes down, now we got them separated. And also, I forgot to say, Asami is, of course, out of Estus at this point, because, you know, she wanted to run in and fight a 2v1, just, you know, by herself, and she got the greatsword hell. So now we're out of Estus, but it's alright, because really the key with invasions is patience. And Asami has a ton of patience. She actually graduated from Patience High School back in 1887. And so she's not really worried about the lack of Estus. Give him some rope firebomb hell. And our phantom is down. But it doesn't really matter, because now we got a blue. Get that nice Estus refill though. And this officer here that they have deployed, they're rather squishy. Ooh, that sweet counter damage. So, you know, we're not too worried about it. It's not like the host is going to come back the officer up or anything like that, so. And look at that nice, nice ultra great sword damage. It's almost as good as my straight sword damage. People really blow me away with how good their builds are sometimes. So we go back and forth with this officer for a little bit longer, but y'all already know. He left, the host left him alone, so you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna die. Of course he's gonna die. If it's a 1v1, they're gonna die. That's just the fact of the matter. And now I got the host alone, or so I think. Or so she thinks, or so we think, or whatever. This host is not a complete moron, though, I will say. got the R1, R1, R2, and then there's our second cop. That right there, I didn't actually know about that combo. R1 into buff. They got me a few times with that, but it's alright, because now we know. So we're not going to fight a 2v1 on that tiny island. So we move over here, eat some moss, because, you know, she was hungry, but also we don't want to take damage the whole time we're trying to open that door. Officer number 2 actually gets sent home because they were trying to play on that McDonald's Wi-Fi. And then we're going to skip ahead a little bit here because there was like a 10-minute hide-and-seek sequence. We finally find our host, being real smart, trying to use the ladder. You know, hosts are some of the smartest kind of creatures you'll actually come across out here. They've adapted to using the ladders to their benefit at all times. And there was that R1 into buff or weapon art or whatever again. And there's our blue number 3, making this a 5v1 at this point. And we're still out of Estes, but Asami said she doesn't give a fuck because she has pride that she has to defend. So she will win this invasion, no matter what. So we got another officer, another freaking cop calling for backup again. I believe that brings us to a 6v1. Here's our host, valiant as ever. A few panic rolls, because Asami does, you know, she's a wild one. She doesn't like being in a cage. But it's alright. Make our escape. And we're not going to go back up the ladder, because that's what hosts do. That's what fools do. Instead, we're going to bring them over here to the babies. Aren't you happy knowing that your tax dollars fund shit like that? Those cops are supposed to go through all this training and shit, but then you can punk them out with 4 R1s. It's incredible, really. All those wasted tax dollars. So our host here, he doesn't really know how daggers are supposed to work, so he waits for us to come to the top of the ladder and then starts putting the daggers in. And you know, like I said, you give Asami a 1v1, she's gonna win it. Except when she gets caught up with that combo for like the 4th time. But it's not a very good combo, so it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm pretty sure 2 R1s would do about the same damage. And Asami's got that spacing. She didn't graduate, but she in like 1912, I think she went to college for spacing. She didn't graduate or nothing, but she was top of the class before she, you know, gave up for a life of crime. Anyway, 4 blues, 1 phantom, and 1 host later. All I gotta say is be patient. GG. Alright, and I know Ponif sucks, and I know it's toxic, and I know there's tryhards, and bow glitchers, and, you know, Ring of Favor spammers, and all that shit, but you know what? We're back. Because Asami has to prove her skill. In the darkest, dankest city neighborhood of all. Now, for whatever reason, our sunbro here is like half a mile ahead of the host, and the host thinks he's real clever, hiding behind that pillar. It just really takes your breath away, doesn't it? And we got R1 twice, but don't go for that parry unless you know for a fact they're gonna swing 3 times, because then they might go for your booty. You know? And Asami likes to play it pretty risky. She probably should have got out of there a little bit earlier, and then this shit wouldn't have happened. But you know what? We're gonna learn from the pattern. And we're gonna expect this running attack. Bam. And you know what? I'm gonna defend Asami here. I don't think she did nothing wrong. I think that her not getting that riposte was bullshit. And you'll see, because there's 2 other frickin' crits during this invasion that she should get, but doesn't. So these 2, they got some fuckery going on. They got some anti-crit fuckery. Now you see the host back there, he's got the Great Sword of Judgment. We're not even worried about that. The weapon art, the R2 on that, it ain't shit. Like, especially compared to the Moonlight, like, the range is just crap. The damage ain't that great. So we're not even worried about it. Like, see? Do it all you want. If you can't free aim, it ain't worth shit. And there's a lot of Gnaw at this level, too. Like I said, Gnaw is an alright spell, but you gotta know when to use it. And we just kinda, you know, back them up. Just keep backing up. Just reel them in around this hoop over and over. This host, he's got his great magic shield on. Not really sure why, but you know, that's just how mages behave. They just behave like mages, right? So our Sunbro, they've been out of Estus for a minute. So that ain't take no skill. I ain't gonna say nothing about it. The host gets behind us, but it's alright. Now you remember I said there's going to be 2 more crits robbed from us. You know? So here they come. We've got... Oh, and our host here is fat rolling. So there, that should have been a fucking backstab. And that right there also should have been a riposte. So now y'all can't say shit, because that is some guaranteed fuckery. You know? You know, hosts, when they get desperate, they don't even remember how to R1 as much as their instincts just tell them to do the weapon art. Weapon art will always save you, right? Parries will always save you. R1 spam. Get good. Oh, fuck. Alright, last one. And then this last one is just something I wanted to showcase. It's not, it's not really an invasion. But, you know what you should do? Whenever you invade is, you should stand there and mess with your armor. They love that. I promise. Everyone loves it. Nobody's gonna come up and backstab you. It's perfectly safe. Just, make sure you look good. And then when you get up with, when you start meeting the other players, go ahead and start messing with your gloves too. Like I said, it's perfectly safe. Everyone loves it. Alright, so here we are. It's 2 watchdogs versus 3 untrue dark ring, whatever's on the home team. Asami goes for a weak backstab there and it doesn't work. But it's around this time that we understand what's really going on here. What's happening behind the scenes. So we try to get away, try to let them know that we understand. We're not here to cause trouble. We're here purely to admire. Now what you see before you is 3 dudes using the storm ruler. And I'm not usually one for the all using the same weapon shit unless it's a cosplay. But look at this. This is gorgeous. Wow. GG everybody. Thanks for watching.